Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today we're going to take a look at all of the features and deliverables which had work kicking off in the month of September. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members, in particular to my latest patron Dave and to my latest channel member Wayne Carr. Thank you both so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. So, each month I like to put together a video that takes a look at all of the work that is kicking off each month and also finishing each month, just to keep us all more informed as to what work is going on in the background. Now, before I get to it, as usual, just because a feature on the progress tracker has work beginning or completing in a particular month does not necessarily mean it'll be released that quarter, the next quarter, or even in that year, as there could still be more work required from other teams, for example the downstream teams like audio, visual effects and so on. Or even priorities can shift and it can get pushed back until needed. It is, however, a great guide to see what could potentially come to the persistent universe when, but at the very least, it shows what work is being done at what time in the year. So with that said, let us take a look at all of the features and deliverables that have work starting in the month of September, according to the progress tracker. Now, for anyone wondering, I do still have the work ending in August video yet to release, but due to time constraints, I decided to release this one first, as it is a lot shorter, with the work ending in August video coming in the near future. So first off, let us begin with artificial gravity. Now this says it is implementing the dedicated functionality for items controlling the gravity per room for ships, outposts, and stations. And this also includes player controls as part of the engineering gameplay. So this is quite an interesting feature, which should be kicking off its 39 weeks work towards the end of September, ending around mid to late June next year. Now, we did recently read that the life support system is now complete. The gravity generator is the next feature that they are beginning work on, which ties into the resource generation and item control system that we are going to get to see at CitizenCon next month, allowing players to interact with and turn on and off all the different systems, like gravity, for example, affecting gravity inside of a ship, a space station, but also, as it mentions, an outpost. So if there is an outpost on a moon with little or no gravity, then turning off the gravity in that outpost means you can float around inside. Now, alongside all of the work that is going on with EVA, like limited fuel, physical EVA jets, decoupled movement, and this push and pull mechanic, having the artificial gravity and component which generates said gravity will lead to some very interesting gameplay. Exploration of derelict ships, salvaging of derelict ships, or even boarding and the gravity being used against you. For example, if you're boarding the ship, they turn off the gravity, you'll then have to EVA your way through, or you could use it against boarders. So very exciting hearing this work is about to kick off, and I do look forward to watching it evolve. Now, talking of salvaging, the next deliverable starting work in September is called Cutting Tier 2. Now, this work is with the weapon feature team and lasts 34 months, which is just about to start, so completing around mid-May, and this says all back-end tech tasks related to updating the cutting feature for the multitool that will be used in future locations and mission updates. The continued development of the existing multitool technology will allow players to cut through specific objects, and this will include the ability to freeform cut on specific surfaces. Now, over the years, we have seen a few use cases for the cutting tool, like accessing the downed satellites panel while searching for the blade for Clover's Zanelli, and in the Squadron 42 vertical slice. And with the actual cutting attachment for the multi-tool outdating every other attachment in the persistent universe right now, it is going to be great to actually have a use for it. So hearing that the work on it will begin soon gets me thinking that they may need the physical damage and breakability tech, as it does mention it allows for players to freeform cut on specific surfaces, which could open the door to a whole wealth of gameplay opportunities and even work alongside the salvaging mechanic. So really intrigued to see what CIG have in mind for cutting, and hopefully by next year we can actually have some gameplay involving it. Now, the next deliverable is called Prone Tier 1, which, as you can imagine, is improving the current prone movement. Now, the description reads specifically, all tasks relating to implementing prone movement by the player and NPCs, and obviously prone is referring to the lying down movement. So we can already go prone in the verse, but much like what we have seen or heard with ladders getting a huge overhaul, I'm assuming prone will too. In what way or to what extent, I have no idea yet, but CIG are currently going through and polishing up all the various movements for players and NPCs, likely for Squadron 42, but this will also affect the persistent universe as well. Now, Prone Tier 1 has 27 weeks work, that will kick off any day now, and completes towards the end of March. Okay, so the last feature starting work in September are the freight elevators. Now this is quite a biggie, and it has 35 weeks work, so not completing until May next year, but this says implementation of systems and content for players to physically load and unload cargo to and from their ships by conveying cargo to and from hangars, landing pads, garages, and docking collars. So as we know, Alpha 3.18 brings the initial release of the cargo refactor, a big system with one big change being the physicalization of all cargo boxes of all sizes. So manually loading, unloading, tractoring and interacting with them. And of course, when we first heard about this, it was said that players will use their personal hangars to have the cargo delivered to them, for then players to physically carry each box and load them into their ships. However, I suspect by the time the freight elevators are in, we will have many various methods of handling cargo, like bigger tractor beams, cargo jacks and trolleys, maybe even hiring NPCs to do it for us or expedite it to speed it up, or as we have recently read in the monthly reports, maybe even using a crane. Also, with freight elevators, we may see the return of personal hangars as well, which will be very nice if that is the case, as they were recently moved off of the progress tracker for reassessment. So a very big system that will likely involve making connections with certain shops and their inventories and the movement of the cargo bought and sold to and from these freight elevators. Now I know when I last mentioned freight elevators, people thought it might involve the Caterpillar door lifts. It does not mean that, it is purely meaning freight elevators for hangars at this time. But there you have it, that is all of the features and deliverables kicking off work in September. Not a huge amount, but still some very significant features. As mentioned earlier, I will get the work ending in August video out as soon as possible. Thank you all for your patience with that. But with that said, if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother. You are all more than welcome over there. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, big thank you to my patrons and channel members, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.